platforms. So once they're all connected, we'll go ahead and get started. In the meantime, just hang tight, usually about 30 seconds to a minute for them all to connect. I'm really excited for today's episode, and it's going to be very interactive. So please ask questions in the chat. If you see me looking down, it's I'm making sure that we're addressing any questions people have, and really want to make this a fun, dynamic episode. Okay, and now we are live on our platform, so we're going to get started. Welcome back to Coach Connect. Here's where we explore the stories and strategies and insights from trailblazers who are transforming the world of coaching and well-being. What drives their success? What fuels their passion for helping others? We're here to uncover their secrets and share them with you. This show is brought to you by Vibely.io, the all-in-one coaching platform designed to empower coaches with tools, resources, and support they need to thrive and help their clients achieve meaningful, long-lasting growth. I'm Dr. Diego Salinas, your guide on this journey. As a neuroscientist, physician, health coach, and co-founder of Vibely, I'm committed to celebrating the incredible work of coaches everywhere and helping them unlock their full potential. So again, let's dive in to see what makes coaching a powerful force of change. Today we have a very special episode. So Mariam holds a BAA and a double major in finance and marketing and master's in marketing. She's worked for over 12 years in marketing, helping startups and scale up and grow to 10 million ARR. Before joining Vibely, 100 million ARR, excuse me, missed a zero there. Big difference. That's annual recurring revenue for the non-marketing nerds there. Before joining Vibely, she served as Senior Director of Demand Generation at Ubic, where she led digital marketing operations, demand generation, and nurturing strategies. Her leadership at Glass Canopy Marketing as a Vice President of Client Demand Generation solidified her expertise in the marketing world. Mariam is passionate about connecting businesses with their ideal clients and elevating personal brands. She's now turned a coach ally who loves helping purpose-driven coaches grow. She brings her real-world strategies from startups to nine-figure B2Bs and break it down to simple, doable steps. She's here to help you share the message, attract the right clients, and build the business you love. Mariam, so honored and so excited for today's episode. Thanks for being a part of this.
Of course, thank you for having me, Diego.
Okay, so today, a coach ally, right? Our first coach ally of the episode, right? And so every episode we start with people's kind of origin story, how they got started in their field. So curious, Miriam, how did you get started with marketing? What was your journey to become a marketer?
Yeah, so I originally wanted to be in finance. So when I had my high school degree, I went to university to study finance. And 3 years into my bachelor's, I did an internship in finance for BNP Paribas. And honestly, I hated that experience. I did not want to be dealing with spreadsheets and numbers all day long for 6 months, and that's what I've done. Um, so I was already 3 years into my bachelor's, and my major was in finance, and I had only two classes left to be able to get my finance major. So I kept doing that, but I decided to do another major in marketing to explore what marketing was and if it's something that I would like better than finance. Um, After that, I really enjoyed actually marketing, so I decided to do my master's in marketing. And obviously, I worked in marketing after that. But the reason why I liked marketing more than finance is because it's a profession that helped me tap into my practical analytic side, so I could still work with numbers and all of that, but also get into my creative side. And I'm someone
Mm,
who loves writing. Um, so yeah, it was a profession that allowed me to actually use the full spectrum of my mind and tap into both of my expertise in finance and marketing.
yeah. We talk about learning what doesn't work for you. You tried finance, thinking it'd be a cool thing, was not the right fit. And you say, well, I'm already this far. Let me see what else I can explore. And
Right.
luckily, you found something that really felt right for you, right? The combination of the analytical side, but really allowing your creativity to shine through so much so that you're like, you know what? Not double major. I'm going to go take a master's in this, learn more. And we kind of talked about briefly your amazing career you've had so far. And so for us non-marketers in the field, right, the term is used so much everywhere: marketing, marketing, marketing. Maybe let's start by just defining. Can you define for us what is marketing?
Of course. So I'm not gonna give a textbook version of what marketing is. I'm gonna give my version of what marketing is. And to me, marketing is impact, however you want to make that. You can literally go in the streets and yell what your service is, and that is marketing.
Mm.
You can have a billboard up in Times Square, that is marketing. You can write an article and post it on LinkedIn or on your website or anything, that is marketing. So it's any tactic or strategy that helps you make an impact. Um, so maybe in different words, creating an impression that drives impact. Again,
Mm.
I would repeat the word impact a lot because marketing is nothing if you're not able to make an impact in something. So that's what
Mm.
I would say the definition of marketing is.
And make an impression to make an impact, right? So that's lead some sort of awareness of what you're doing. Maybe we talk the marketing funnel later on, right? Some sort of awareness of what you're doing, so that there's an impact impression there, and you can make a difference, make an impact. Which I know as coaches, that's kind of the name of the game here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, because you find marketing as a creative field that allows you to use this intellect, but moving it forward. And you had this really great career, vice president of a company, being very successful. Curious, kind of. I'm lucky enough to know your story, and the audience will still too. Tell me what kind of what was like once you were working in these big companies. You're helping them go to 100 million ARR, right? These big numbers. You're successful on paper and doing all those things. But what was it like for you as you went through your profession? What did you notice about yourself and how you wanted to make an impact in the world?
Yeah. Um, Good question. I really enjoyed what I was doing. I truly enjoy marketing. And as you mentioned, I was really successful at it. I knew what to do all the time, and I had experience in it. Um, it fulfilled me. I was really happy, but there was something missing, and I didn't know what it was at that time.
Mm,
I learned, I, really enjoyed impacting the bottom line of businesses. And what I mean by bottom line is bringing more money to businesses. That, like, I found joy in it, and I thought, yeah, like, um, it's something great. And a lot of businesses, when they grow, if you think about it, marketing had a big impact on it. Like, imagine if you have a great product or a great service, but if there is no marketing behind it to get it out in the world, and for people to know that it exists, even if you have the best product in the world, it's not gonna land.
mm,
So yeah, to influence and impact the world somehow was always something that I wanted to do. At that time, I thought it was hitting the bottom line, but a couple of years ago, I lost someone very dear to me in my family, and um, yeah, Jad and I had been friends for a long time, and he offered me coaching, a coaching package with Mary. Mary, if you're here, hello. um, I was skeptical to try it out first, but I really trusted Jad, so I went with it. A lot of times, people, when they think about coaching, they think about leadership coach or executive coach or financial coach, and I've had those too. But when you're dealing with grief or with a chronic disease or with ADHD or any type of like health related issue, you don't think about coaching. You think about therapy and you think about doctors,
mm,
right? So I realized that there was a lack of awareness in coaching in the market, and I also realized going through that experience that I wouldn't have had that same impact on me if I didn't go through that grief coaching experience.
Mm,
And I'm so thankful for Jad and for my coach to have helped me through that difficult time. Um, yeah, so there's something that Jad had told me is like, coaching is going to help you focus on moving forward. And that's what I really needed at that time. I didn't need
mm,
to dwell on everything that I was feeling. Yeah, so that so going through that experience, I went back to my job, and again, I excelled at it, and I was doing great. But throughout that year, I felt burnout,
mm,
and again, that feeling of something was missing came back.
mm,
And I realized that the impact I wanted to have at that time was to make people live better lives. And I wanted to help coaches the way they helped me out,
mm.
right?
That's
So
beautiful.
I left that world of B2B marketing, even though it's something that really brought me joy. I found even more fulfillment and more joy, and knowing that the impact I'm having is not on the bottom line of those big businesses but on people. um, and I really truly believe in the work that coaches do. I'm a client of coaches, and I know there is again a lack of awareness in that market, and I'm here. I want to help them get their word out, and I want as many people to try coaching and really see the benefits that they will get out of it. And why I joined Vibely is because after studying that market, I realized that it is a market that is very underserved by technology. There are a lot of practice management tools out there that serve everybody. Therapy, doctors, coaches, nutritionists, all of what you think of. But there is no technology that was built specifically for coaches.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad that Vibely is doing that, and that is the my new passion right now, and something that really drives me and wakes me up at night to see how I can get that word out.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for, and I know because I get those late night texts from you too, right? So, but no, really, it's a lot of people have, thank you for sharing your personal story. I know being your, good friend, how hard that might have been, and it sounds like that before you're doing well, on paper, and there's something a little missing, but things go okay. But sometimes life throws us these curveballs that really have us re-examine what
Correct.
it is, right? And so it's like you're doing well, something was missing, huge transition in your life. Coaching helps you get back on your feet. Shout out to Mary here, right? To really help you, and you're back to be successful.
Yeah.
But that you couldn't unknow what you've seen, right? You said, hold on a second, I really love making impact. This could be a creative venture. And I love what you said. I want to help coaches the way they help me, right? And like the whole idea here of community helping each other, right? That clearly I'm a coach, I'm passionate about it, but I'm not an engineer the way Jad is, who wants to help coaches with his skill set. I'm not an expert marketer the way you are, and it's how can you work in parallel because you have the same vision and
Correct.
value, and if we can work synergistically, we can really help the coaching community. Because what you mentioned there too, Miriam, awareness is something I've mentioned before. Is that maybe we'll start a little marketing 101, right? Awareness. People have to be aware of what it is you mentioned before they purchase it. If you're not knowing how it could be the best product in the world,
Yeah.
if you don't know about it, you can never use that service or product, right?
Yeah.
I love teaching coaching, but if it's only theoretical, if you're not actually coaching clients, right? It's
Correct.
the actual. So to me, you said impact, but I'm also thinking marketing. It's coming to me right now that like it's also about connection.
Yes.
You've connected someone to where they actually want to be, but they didn't know this is the way there.
Right. And I realize after talking to so many coaches now that And I think it's something that will resonate with all solopreneurs out there is that they start their business and then all of a sudden it's like there is that thing called marketing and I have to do it and I need to not be bad at it, but I've never studied it.
Yeah.
So it's um, like just drawing from my experience, I've always been part of a team. If there is a big win, we high five each other and go for happy hour. If we're facing a challenge, we all roll up our sleeves and try to overcome it as a team. And then I realized that solopreneurs unfortunately don't have that. When you're working by yourself, it's so easy to think that your experience is yours alone, right? Which makes
Yeah.
you feel like you're the only one dealing with the challenge you're running into. But in reality, and this is like I'm talking from experience with talking to so many coaches right now, in reality, everyone is feeling the same pain, but they don't have a community they can go back to. They can share their wins and challenges. And that makes it even harder for solopreneurs out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that a lot, and I've experienced. I heard a lot. Someone say, being a solo coach can be very lonely,
Yeah.
and there's that the lack of connection, camaraderie, but also as you're referencing that you don't know what you're doing, if it's right, if it's wrong, right? And I'll be honest with you, my personal story. I went through coaching program. I was like, this is amazing. I'm gonna do so much good in the world. I come from a decent background. I was like, hey, I'm a physician, neuroscientist. It's gonna rain clients on me. There was a big steep learning curve. I knew a lot about coaching, well-being, but I didn't know market technology, and that was the gap in connection for me to be able to connect to other people. So I do see a lot of people I mentor too that they may be doing the right things, but they're not sticking to it long enough, or learning from it and saying that's kind of why Bali has a community of solo coaches. Like you can learn from each other, support each other, um, and and learn from those who came up before us. And those coming new get new creative ideas, and we collaborate together.
Yeah.
So these solo coaches, and by the way, Miriam, I see in the chat here, someone asked if you could, your volume might be a little low for some of our listeners. If you can maybe speak a little closer, just seeing that feedback from Mark. Thank you, Mark, for that feedback. We'll try to work on that as well. Appreciate that.
Did I told you to bring me a microphone? You forgot.
I did have one. Didn't have time to set it up. Yeah. Let everyone know too. We do have the ability to. Our audios are recorded separately, so in post we can always do some compression, edit this. So if you do have some trouble listening now, the on demand will have clear and transcription. So thank you, Mark, for that feedback, and sorry, Miriam, for my little oversight there. I had it, but it's right here. Anyway, so back to coaching and solo coaching, right? So okay, so we're a coach. We went through a coach training program. We excited about coaching, and now marketing. What is this behemoth? And I get all these ads about marketing, and I don't know where to start. So maybe today, if we can do like a marketing 101 for marketing expert, right? So assume we know nothing about marketing, right? What's like the first important or basic point to know for any solo provider, whether it's coaching or not, right? About marketing. Where do you start? What's the foundation to understand?
The first thing that any solopreneur needs to work on is their value prop, who they're trying to serve. And value prop is short for value proposition. And if I had to identify it, it is a statement that communicates your value and the benefits of your product or service. And it highlights how like why customers should choose you over your competitors. And why this is important. I'm gonna touch on why it's important, but it's like the value prop cannot just be clear. It needs to connect,
Mm,
right? It's your clients need to immediately feel like I recognize myself in this, or this
mm.
is for me. And let's
Can I pause you there, Miriam?
yeah,
Because talk about definitions, right? So for all the coaches here, we talk value a lot. So in coaching, we mean value being what drives you internally. Is your value for family, for legacy, for community, right? Here, it's the kind of marketing definition of value is what benefit is someone getting, right? How valuable is this service, like to be able to lead a healthier life, to stop smoking, to get back from grief? Like, what is the benefit or support they're getting? Just so for the coaches there,
Yeah,
we're using the term value, but it's a little different definition here.
exactly. Yes. And if you think about it a little bit more, like if you're unclear, your audience is confused. If your audience is confused, your audience will not buy,
Mm,
right? And the value prop, why is it the most important thing that anyone starting their business? It's because it anchors your whole marketing strategy. Your value proposition informs your bio, your content, your offer, and even your lead magnet, right?
okay, okay. So if I can say kind of analogy from coaching, right? Because there are some analogies here. We say coaching is kind of based in vision and values, right? It all stems from this. Is where the motivation comes, where we kind of do the work. You're saying the marketing perspective, the value prop is really, really important to understand and not only get clear and concise
Yeah,
and connect, right? Because if from there, the other kind of details or the other kind of mechanisms will all be rooted from what its original value prop is. And you
exactly.
mentioned clear and concise and confusing. I remember when I first started, when I asked what a coach is, and I just see this look on their face like you've been talking for like 3 minutes. What is it? Right? Your point to be clear and concise, and that's a skill set that is, I want everyone listening, it's developed. It takes time, like any other skill set, right? So, okay, so let maybe give some examples, maybe to clarify, right? So it's about being clear to the audience. Maybe give me some examples of what a value prop is, or can you find a little more how to create what's the structure of a good value prop?
Right, so let me break it down into a very simple framework. Your value prop needs to touch on who, what, and results. So I help who do what to achieve what results,
Okay. So
right?
who you're serving, in what mechanism you're serving them, and for the purpose, what's the end goal. So it's like who, what, the process may be, and then the outcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
you asked about good and bad examples. I have an idea. How about I give you a few and you tell me if it's bad or good. And
Okay.
while,
Socratic method. Okay. I just put me on the spot. All right. I'm down.
while we're doing that, for anyone who wants me to look at their value prop and provide feedback, please leave it in the comments and I'll make sure to shoot you a DM with feedback on your value prop. Again, don't forget that it is free. I'll review it, provide feedback, and even probably give you a couple examples that you can replace your value prop with.
That's awesome. So anyone listening, throw it in the chat. If you're watching this later on, still put it in the LinkedIn messages. She'll be very generous and give you a personalized message to help you out here. So man, I wish I had you like 7 years ago. Okay, so so let's start. Okay, I'm in the hot seat. Give me some examples. So
All
it
right.
was who you're
So
serving, what you're doing, and to what end results, right? Okay.
yeah. So I help people feel better, good or bad.
People's a who, but we're all people. So there are 7 billion people in the world, and I tell all my clients a lot. They go, I feel good. I'm like, what does good mean to you? What does better mean to you? So I don't really know, and I don't really know how you're making me feel better either. So I'd say this one can use a lot of work.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I help moms with ADHD create systems that actually stick.
Yeah. Okay. So not only for moms, but particular kind of moms. So with ADHD, what you're doing is a system, and the purpose is something that's consistent for them because with ADHD sometimes lack that consistency. Okay, I'd say that's a pretty good one.
Good. Okay,
Okay.
great. I help men find balance.
Okay. We got men, so at least half the population there, but there's a lot of different kind of men. Are you adolescent? Are you geriatric? Are you midlife? And I don't know, I work on well-being all the time. Balance is so individualized. Like, what does that mean? Work-life balance, balance your work. Are you talking about fall balance for people with, motor movement disorder? So it's somewhat there, but still too vague. Actually, no, very vague. It's too general.
Yeah, I think it's touching on men, not very specific audience, just men. It is missing the what, how,
Mm-hmm.
like what and how, like how are you gonna help those men? And in terms of balance, are you talking about balance in their relationship, balance in their life, work-life balance? Like you need to be a bit more specific. All right, here is another one. I help coaches build sustainable businesses by making marketing simple, strategic, and authentic. What do you think of that one?
Sounds like an expert marketer wrote that one, right? Coaches, right? What they're, what they grow their business and how it's something strategic. They can understand it's consistent for them. And remember to pause. Someone in the audience gave an example, and Mark, thank you for this. Let me see if we can use Mark's example here. Um, I help midlife and mid-career professionals gain clarity and go into action to reach their career goals.
Okay, can you repeat that again? I
Yeah.
help.
I help midlife and mid career professionals
Okay,
gain clarity and go into action to reach their career goals.
okay. How?
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Is
I thought it
it
was pretty good, but I'm not
a
the
bit
extra
good?
marketer, right? So there's a little bit, maybe more on the how. It could be maybe somewhere to tweak a little bit.
The how and the what are similar. So, like, are we doing it through a 12-week program, or are you building a system for me? Is it, like, what is that? So,
Mm.
I like it. It is better than a lot of value props I read from coaches out there. So,
Mm.
kudos to you, Mark.
Yeah. I got maybe one more from the audience, and then we'll continue on. Is that okay? Again, and to people listening, keep on putting it on there because if we don't respond to this episode, we'll respond with more personalized details, right? So, here's one from Leslie. I help individuals living with chronic pain in moving forward with following their treatment plan, lifestyle changes, and mindset to live with more resilience and joy.
I like this one. I like this one. The second part, I would probably make it a bit more specific. So the chronic disease, I really love it. The the outcome is really brilliant. In the middle there, there is a part where I was a bit lost. I need, okay, if you can, Leslie, I will reach out to you and help you with that value prop.
Nice. Okay, this is great.
Everyone
Yeah.
who commented, we will reach out to you on LinkedIn and give you feedback.
Yeah. And maybe if I can share like my own personal stories
Yes.
here too when I was training this, right? So I remember at the end of our program, we had to do it's like 20 minutes, half hour. They go, everyone stand up and partner up and give your elevator speech, which I'm guessing now is really like your value prop, right? What you're doing at a glance. And it was every minute the bell would ring, you had to change. At first I was like, I help everyone through neuroscience and coaching whatever you want, this and this. And it was mumbled and it was, by the end you realize what I didn't work. Half hour later it was more refined.
Yeah.
Frankly, it took me months or years to probably refine it. And then one advice I would give is that at least I first wanted to give a lot of information. And what I think I learned was that be concise. And if the person is interested, they're in that category, they'll want to learn more. Right. So maybe the example of Mark, right? Midlife and mid professionals. If that's me, I'm like, okay, I want to learn more how you do that. If that's not me, we're not wasting either of our times.
Right.
Right. So kind of like just see if that one who you fit, then you can explain more versus overwhelming initially.
Right.
Yeah.
And something I would recommend is it is okay to focus on different areas. Like it is
Mm-hmm.
okay for you to be an executive coach, but also someone who helps with moms with ADHD and also someone who helps people in their relationship. That should not all be in your a value prop. In your profile page, have your mission. Mission is different. In
Mm.
your service page, have different services for each one of your focus areas and have a different value prop for each one of those focus areas.
Okay, yeah, this is a huge topic I get asked on a lot. 'Cause we'll talk about definitely more in this episode about niching down, right? It is like, what if you have multiple people you want to serve?
It's
And we'll
okay.
talk, and then we'll talk about, hey, it is important to know your audience to find them, and it's also okay to have more than one kind of audience you serve. And you're saying the idea is, okay, what's the general mission? What's the general your own internal values and threads that makes you then applicable for each one? But when you talk for each category, you focus on that category. So maybe I can give you my ideas, Miriam.
Yes.
Right? So real story. I got into coaching because I wanted to help families. I saw families in pediatrics struggling with not knowing the first few things that babies do or when their kid gets sick or something, right? But then I realized, wait, this can also help burnout for physicians like I was, right? And like, so then I realized what's in common here is that physicians and families are both serving others, right? So I help serve those who serve others is my general, right? I help coaches help, right? So that is a common thread. I help people serve others. If I'm talking to a physician, I might say I help physicians who are facing burnout through a neuroscience-backed method of personal change, achieve more resiliency, and find enjoyment in their career and work-life balance.
I love this one. Great
Okay.
job.
But then if I meet a family who has a new kid, I'd be like, I help new parents go through the transition of early parenthood to both help their kids' life, but also maintain their own well-being through resources. Maybe the order's wrong. Through using pediatric resources and health coaching to support both families.
Good job, Diego. It's good to have a market in your life.
It made a huge difference. So the point is that so you can niche down, you can have multiple niches. And my whole point thought was like, here's my analogy: you sell fruit, why can't you sell grapes and bananas?
Right.
So if you're doing a value profile, maybe your main profile has your overall that mission, that core values that drive you to do things, and then you focus each service page on the value prop that you are providing with each of those persons. So if you meet someone who's, and this is what I'll say, for example, on my business card, that's
Mhm.
just in general, I have my logo, my QR code to value profile. But when I'm talking to families, I just send them the family page, service page, right? Go there. So it's kind of, is that, any thoughts on that, Miriam, how to like navigate this? I have multiple areas I serve. Can I do this?
Yeah, that is a great segue to a few principles. There are four principles I would like for coaches to know,
Okay.
and that I learned throughout my career. Um,
Okay, so we went through the what marketing is, what value prop is, and now it's like a little more detail. So four key points to make sure
yeah,
you do this well. Okay.
know your audience, know your people, not just your niche. So you need to understand who they are, what they think, how they think, what keeps them up at night. When they go to bed at night, what are the thoughts that come to their mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
What have they already tried and what do they want? Then speak directly to that on your service page and in your elevator pitch.
Yeah. Can I pause there? Because this reminds me of medicine too, right? In medicine, we talk about physician important outcomes and the patient important outcomes. And one thing I was learning was as a physician, you're thinking, okay, their A1C level, their blood sugar, whatever those things are measuring.
Yeah,
And you ask a patient what's important, they might be like, I have a question about this little rash on my finger, and we sometimes forget what's important to them versus what we think is important to them.
yeah,
So I think really, even though you understand a lot, you have a lot of understanding, what do they think? What's important to them, right? And this is where maybe your background experience comes in, right? If you happen to work with a lot of population, or right now, this is thinking about a real world example of Vibely. All I do is talk to coaches, be like, what do you need? Right? I have my own experience, of course, but I am one kind of coach in one kind of way, and I want to know as many ways that helps what things they actually important to them, not
right,
what I think is important. So the more I understand my audience from learning, from listening, the more I can say, well, I'm going to make sure I give them the value that
right.
they're looking for.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of clients too, I see them wanting to work with coaches who have dealt with the challenges they're facing.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
creates connection.
Okay.
The second thing I would say is lead with value, not noise. Um, the
Leave with
internet,
value, not noise. Okay.
the internet does not need more content. It needs more relevant content, more helpful content, and better content in general. Um, and we can touch on the content in another episode because it's a really big topic, or at the end of the episode for like briefly. But what I mean by value is showing your audience you get them, right?
Mm.
You can help them and you are worth listening to. Right? And that could be either with free tips or a perspective shift or a clear next step. but your audience need to walk away better than they came.
Okay.
And
The
that's
value prop, you're giving something there, or that value prop, we're really addressing that and giving that as the initial thing before they're even purchasing from you, so to speak, or connecting or buying from you.
exactly. And that goes back to content. Like your content needs to provide value.
Mm.
Um,
Can I give some examples and maybe you let me know?
yeah,
So one thing I hear a lot of coaches say, we know a lot of solo coaching is word of mouth, but who's like, okay, well, how do I get started? Chicken and the egg thing, right? I need a experience to get a job. How do I get out of that experience, right?
yeah,
And so that's why we created live events on, as you can do on Vibely, right? So you can host webinars or live events. And I always think, okay, think about when you yourself are a client or purchasing, you're looking at something, right? Hey, free ebook on how to, um, you know, uh, I don't know, garden, how to start your first gardening thing, right? Okay, I started gardening. I went to the gardening store and they had a little pamphlet. I was like, cool, that's how we start, right?
yeah,
Or so, for example, for me, I might do one, um, 7 tips on sleep training for kids,
yeah,
right? So parents have sleep training issues. I can give them some value, and some of them, that's all they need. Amazing. I help them on their way. A few might say, hey, that's great to know. I also wonder what else I can learn from this person,
yeah,
or more specific, right? Because you gave them something that they say this person is worth listening to because I heard them before. So really saying, whether it's ebooks or live events, webinars, great way to generate leads, but give something first to
correct.
establish that. And I'll say, besides the value, something I learned, Miriam, from you actually, that I didn't know. That it takes like 8 or 9 touch points, like contact before someone feels comfortable buying something, and that's like for a baseball cap, right?
Not even that. It takes 9 touch points to get a hold of someone, to start a conversation with someone. Uh,
Mm.
not to buy, not to sell, you know. So imagine for selling,
Ooh.
you need a bit more than that. That is a great way to go into the third principle, which is be consistent. You can provide value and you can be clear as much as you want and have the amazing content, but be consistent with it because consistency always wins.
Mm.
And something I would say is that a good message consistently delivered beats a brilliant message delivered occasionally. And I can't stress this enough. Your job is not to say something new every time. Your job is to say the right thing enough times that people finally take action. And that is one mistake I see coaches doing. They
Mm.
launch a workshop or a live event and they find themselves alone or with just one person in that event. That is okay. Keep doing it. It takes 9 events to get a hold of someone, to
And
get
then you start the sales process. Yeah.
you right.
Okay, I even love how you hit the table there to make emphasis, right? And I think this is for the coaches. So we can use some of our coaching skills for this too, right? A lot of people I'm training and coaching will say, I feel I'm just repeating. I feel like I'm being repetitive here. And I say, yeah, the whole point of coaching is to repeat because neurons that fire together wire together. If you want to
Yeah,
look up the Hebbian hypothesis, it goes into a big nerdy explanation of why that is, right? But the more we repeat, it's more how anything is ingrained and we learn it. So you're
yeah,
saying a lot of people might have a really nice, they might work for this workshop, have the right phrasing, the right thing. They only do it once and there's no consistency. So it's better to have a concise message and your job is to be known for that thing, to keep on hitting that home so that eighth or ninth touch point, the ninth time someone heard that message, they go, and they may not do it right away. Can I tell a story? I was working with a client who I had a discovery call last year with him. He's now ready to engage,
yeah,
right? And so people are at different points of their journey or needing support. And if you know that you're available for them when they need support, then they're like, oh, I need help to something. Yeah, that person who talks about X, Y, and Z. Let me go explore a little more.
right. And you probably have done a good job nurturing them, pushing forward the message that will resonate with that person multiple times. You didn't diversify that. You went with the same message over and over and over again for a year or almost a year. Now they're ready to buy, right?
Mm. Okay, consistency. So this is a good point. It's going to feel repetitive, right? That means it's going to feel that you failed 9 times, but you learned, you got closer, right? And something, I'll be honest with you, Miriam is giving me this advice too, because I get frustrated with what I'm doing too. And oh, why is it? She's like, Diego, be consistent. Just keep
Right.
the consistency. Do it little by little. Focus on the process, like we
Yeah.
tell our clients to. Focus on the process, and the outcome will come.
And the fourth and final one, I would say, is test and test and test and test and test and test again.
Mm,
When I say something, marketers probably would not like me saying that, but the best marketer, even the best marketer out there, they're just guessing until the number prove it.
mm.
Really, like I'm gonna say it's even the best marketer out there, they're just testing until the numbers prove it. Try things, review what's working, drop what's not. It is okay to make mistakes. When I started my career over a decade ago, I was so fortunate to have a really great boss, and he told me, Miriam, you can make a $10,000 mistake a year. And guess what? That gave me the freedom to test and see what's working, what's not. And, like imagine if you join a company that tells you you don't have the right to make mistakes. You live by the book. There is no learning opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Make mistakes, guys. It is okay. Just, again, lead with value, know your audience, be consistent, and test. Really important principles that I want you guys to get.
Those are four incredible North Stars. And the more we're talking about this, the more I'm thinking, coaches actually know this deep down from a coaching perspective. We actually understand for our clients. It's time for us to really take that in because the testing part, right? I tell my clients, listen, we're running experiments every week. We're being scientists here.
Yeah,
I work in mental health coaching. It's not a one size fits all, right? Finding your flow or finding your restoration, active or passive, they're common principles, but what restores someone actively is very different. For some people, for me, it's rollerblading and skateboarding. For some people, it's crocheting,
yeah,
right? And so it's like, I tell clients, listen, we're not going to know what's happening until you run that experiment. And it's
right.
okay if you realize, yeah, I don't like skateboarding. I don't like crocheting. I don't like yoga.
Yeah,
You learned what didn't work, right? And um, to quote like Thomas Edison, right? Create a light bulb. First, it took 1,000 or 10,000 times to make the filament. And someone
yeah,
interviewed asked him, "Hey, Mr. Edison, wasn't it frustrating you failed 10,000 times?" And he said, "I didn't fail. I learned what didn't work."
exactly.
Our brain, just so everyone knows, our brain is biased towards a negative. Remember the negative, much remember the positive, unfortunately. Or maybe fortunate, that's why we're alive. We
Yeah,
can get, it's a different discussion. But to say, hey, if we can ask our clients to say, we just learned it didn't work,
yeah,
continue learning from experiments. And this may tie into consistency in a kind of unique way. I'm curious your thoughts on this, Miriam. This is something you and I haven't talked about before. I tell my clients, making change on being consistent, but that doesn't necessarily mean the exact same thing always. It's consistently retrying,
yeah, exactly.
consistently testing, consistently getting back on the horse, which is how you're going to learn.
Yes, again, your job is not to say something new every day. Your job is to say the right thing enough time that people finally take action. I think we
Mm,
need to quote this.
yeah. So it takes time. It's patience, right? So it's okay. So we kind of talked. Let's see if I can do a decent summary. So what is marketing? Value prop is foundation. There's four key things to understanding your audience, right? What to do. Maybe this will learn from what not to do. If we can save some of our coaches here, some of the headaches that I've gone through, that a lot of coaches have gone through. So like, what are some things maybe or myths maybe, within marketing and coaching that would be helpful to people to think about?
Yeah, so I've learned really early in my career that the spray and pray method approach to marketing does not work. What I
Mm,
mean by spray and pray method is having this huge pool of audience that you want to serve and serving them all at once with the same messaging, the same ads. No. What I would recommend is identifying 5 or 10 people that you want to work with
mm, okay.
and have a really focused approach on each one of them. For example, I'm a coach and I wanna work with you, Diego. Diego on his own does not exist 1,000 times. There is only one Diego. So I want to go into all your social media profiles and learn about them, about you. I want to go and understand, do you have buying power? Are you going to be able to purchase my services? Do I need to price my services different to you than to another Diego V2 version 2, right? Um, what conversations is he having online? And talk to Diego on his own with the message that resonates with him only, and you're gonna have really great success there rather than talking to 1,000 Diegos with the same messaging. That is a spray and pray method.
Mm,
Um, it is the marketing has evolved. It might have worked in the past, probably 20 years ago, 10 years ago, but even then at that time, it was really inefficient.
mm, okay.
And
Yeah, yeah.
life was a victim of it. So please, guys, like exactly what I mentioned, identify 5 or 10 people you want to work with and have a lead-based marketing strategy on them, one lead at a time, not 1,000 at a time.
Yeah. It also makes it more accessible, right? I think a lot of people think I need to spend 20K on ads this month to get people in, and and you're saying no. Instead of like going fishing for a huge pond, understand people well and really know them. Better to serve 30 people extremely well
Yeah,
than not be a good fit for 30,000 people. And
right.
actually, so for solopreneurs, it's actually easier to start off that way, right? Because you can understand. And maybe I'll give you this might tie into a story. I remember I was on a panel for business and coaching at where I teach, and someone asked me, "How do I explain how awesome the Duke Health Coaching Program is to potential clients?" And I was like, "Can I be frank with you? You're approaching the wrong way. You didn't ask your client what they wanted. What do they want? What is it that they're here to do? So really understand that person. It's okay to start little and slow in your little community, and versus taking this big chunk instead. So marketing's been changing, and okay, so don't do pray and spray and pray. Localize down, niche down, and
Yeah.
understand them really well and grow from there.
Right. And the
Okay.
second most important one I would say is really cut down from your admin tasks. And I was a victim of it myself. I wanted to save my company's money and I wanted to show them that I know how to do those tasks. But the reality is, when you spend a lot of your time handling admin tasks, there is a time that you're not spending doing learning, doing what things are like things that are gonna bring you clients. So really automate, find tools out there that will help you be more efficient. And the North Star that you need to be looking at is like less than 5% of your time per week needs to be spent on admin tasks. Obviously, when you're acquiring a new tool or automating something, there is a big chunk of time that you're going to have to invest on that tool initially, but that will save you so much time. It will help you grow. And it is an advice that I got myself from my boss when I started my career. It's like, Miriam, I know you know how to do this stuff, but do you want to do this stuff all your life or you want to learn and grow and be like a boss one day? And I'm like, I want to be the latter. He's like, okay, then go and spend money and get those tools that are going to help you be where you want to be in your career.
Yeah, if I can expand on that too, I think also coaches, besides the ad, so people often say, well, I'll get started once I have a client, once I do this. And again, you're approaching the exact wrong way because coaching is not a Kickstarter campaign. No one's gonna hope in 6 months you can, like when someone's ready to purchase, you have to have your systems in place, right? Because the client experience starts when they meet you. If it takes you too long to schedule with them 4 days later or send that contract, the coach who has the same day schedule, easy booking is gonna. It happened to me as a client. I went with someone who was easier to book with and one who wasn't. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it really is about creating your system in place, and at first it takes a while to learn that and do that. Have it, it's the template there, think your schedule. But so once you're meeting with someone and you did all that work, okay, those 9 touch points,
Yeah.
a lot of coaches are then doing all this work and not reaping the benefit of the fruit because they're not collecting it.
Yeah.
Right? So really, and I'll say from a burnout perspective too. So clearly did Vibely make it more affordable, easier to use? One thing I've personally found is the work-life benefit and burnout benefit. There's a lot of models for burnout, but one is time you like doing versus things you don't like doing. Every work will have stuff you don't like doing. My
Yeah.
mom said if it was so much fun, they wouldn't pay you to do it. It's part of every job, right? But you want to work on this ratio because that's how you sustain a career no matter what it is. I was surprised, this is really, by how great it was that once I started, Vibely and using our system, I was like, oh, my texts are just friends that want to hang out, not my client asking to reschedule or send them a note. And when I am doing that, it's really quick,
Yeah.
right? So have a system, whatever it is, but have it in place. Spend a little time learning it, developing it. So now it's out of your way and you focus on your client experience and their journey and serving them and not on the stuff that's not that.
Yeah, I would say hit the iron when it's hot.
Yeah, strike there and it's hot.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
If
Yes.
in marketing and sales, when you get a signal or an intent or an inquiry from a lead, the first 5 minutes are the the most important minutes for you to be able to close that lead.
Mm,
Here is what it means. The more time you spend between a signal to you having the conversation, the less successful you'll be in converting now.
yeah.
So yes, you need to have those systems in place. And guess what? When you have those systems in place, over time they work for you, not against you. You start building credibility with Google search results, right?
Right.
But that's the term we call search engine optimization. It is really important. Um, yeah, that basically that's
Yeah, I read it. I was watching a podcast on this, and someone said that within the first minute, for example, it said 5 minutes, but if you can respond in the first minute, your chances of closing are increased 390 something percent, some huge number, right? So this is the statistics, right? And think about your own self too. And now that I think I was emailing a company about a skateboard. The one that responded right away, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. They're so great with customer response. And I want, the one that took me a while, I'm like, are they reliable or not, right? So it really is true. And someone has intention, you want to be able to serve them and meet them where they're at. We talk about coaching, meeting your clients where they're at. If you're
right.
not meeting your leads where you're at, they'll never be your clients.
Yeah, exactly. And something I used to say to my sales team in my previous role, they're like, "Well, Miriam, we reply within 24 hours." I'm like, "You already lost a deal there if you reply within 24 hours. You get a form conversion, or like what the term that is most known for coaches is lead magnet. You
Hmm.
get a lead from that lead magnet, jump on it right away. I gave them an hour, but I was too generous to give them an hour to reply to those inquiries. Usually it's the first 5 minutes. It's tested. Every article you read out there is going to say the same exact thing because guess what? If a lead converts on your form, they probably have converted on multiple other forms. They probably are trying to see what options they have to work with. And usually, the first person who gets a hold of that inquiry is the person who closes the deal.
Yeah. As we're saying this, I'm thinking like, almost reframing in my mind how I think of customer service. Like I think customer service is once they're your customer, but customer service starts at like once they're curious about you, right? Like if you have a physical store, if you have a nice store where they walk in and it's clean and well lit, has options. Okay, I feel comfortable. How you doing? Yeah, I'm ready. Versus like the store is rusty, and this like they're neither were your customer yet,
Yeah,
but it's their experience of being your customer starts before they actually pay you, actually, right? So having that professional appearance, professional um, tools makes a huge difference. And I think a lot of coaches, if I can borrow a term from business too, is opportunity cost. People think about the cost of like, oh, well, how much does it cost to have a platform, do this? How much does it cost to not have 3 clients this month because you didn't schedule with them?
right. Yeah.
Right? Hidden cost. So we're at five. We're almost 5 out of the hour. I'll be honest with you. There's so much more I want to talk about. A lot of great discussion in the chat here. a lot of more examples for, the value prop. Aaron had a great question, like how do you know when it's too much? A lot of good questions. Before we go into, I think, diving into each one of those, because we don't have the time. And that's have to do with follow up what we do about maybe content, because I think,
Yeah.
um, if I can maybe not steal a show here, but there's many ways to do content. There's many different ways, and maybe we'll give examples that it doesn't have to be one size fits all. People think, oh, I don't want to be on TikTok, I don't want to be on LinkedIn. You don't have to do it all. You can find what works for you, sustainable for your business, right? And just like each client is different, each coach and solo business is different. And that's the beautiful thing on Resin, talking to all these solo coaches, what they want, how they want. I'm great. I'm not. I enjoy talking on camera. I do not like writing, right? Play to your strengths, right? So if I want to pause here because we listen to our coaches, right? That's how we develop the software, how to develop those little features, all these little add-ons. One thing we've heard is, okay, we have the tools for marketing, but I want more guidance, more personalized like approach. Can I talk to you for a little bit longer? Can I have more of a thing? And so, Vibely coaches, we've heard you. And I wanted to give you, Miriam, a chance to maybe introduce a new branch of Vibely and how we want to continue serving our community.
Right. So we did hear you, and we actually can tap into my services. I can help you guys. We created a new module called Vibely Services, where you can get a one-on-one consultation with me on your marketing. You can get a full-on package to help you grow your coaching practice. Or if you're just starting out, we also have created a package specifically for new coaches trying to launch their business. I will leave the link in the comments so that you guys can see it. But we're also starting a marketing podcast specifically for you coaches where we can, I know we have a lot to talk about, and podcast will touch on one module. So, like, one podcast will be around content, another one would be around social media, another one will be around um, lead gen, another one would be around SEO, everything. We will touch on it on the in the marketing podcast. But again, if you need help from me, I will leave the links in the comments. And yeah, I'm really excited to help you, coaches, because I've had the most impactful and positive experience from a coach in the moment where I needed it the most. So, yeah, and thank
Thank you.
you.
I got goosebumps because I know who Miriam is. She is such a John and Miriam, this amazing, heartfelt people, and kind of coach allies that I know, right? And it's been beautiful seeing how we can support coaches in different ways. I'm a big teacher, educator. We call it Vibe Academy. This whole concept, right? Coaching skill set. We'll do marketing and meet you where you're at, right? We have a coaching community also. Join in. There's mentors there, give support. We have you every step of the cover. Wait, just a few questions on the forum. Ask a question. You need a little more support. We're there for you. If you need other tools that we need, let us know. And I'll give everyone a hint. It's not C eligible yet, but there soon will be C eligible for all your board certified coaches to get learning plus continuing education on there. So I want to thank Miriam from the bottom of my heart for all you do for Vibely, for the coaches, for the person you are, for being willing to be flexible and actually take time from Viably to help out those coaches in the way they want to. Anyone listening, Viably's whole goal is to make more connections and help solopreneurs out. So if we can help in any way, we have a discount code for our listeners. If you type in Salinas20, it's my last name, SALINAS 20. They'll give you 20% off the first 3 months of paid service after your 30-day free trial, or 90 days if you're a student. Any way we can support you, feedback is how we grow. We want to know what coaches need so we can help provide value to coaches. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, go ahead,
So,
Miriam.
yeah, and that code is only valid until tomorrow.
Thank you. Yes, it does reset. Appreciate it. Yes. Urgency. We can talk about that in the marketing episode one day. And thank you, Miriam, for being generous to have a parallel podcast. We're listening. This CoachConnect podcast is still going to go. Miriam's going to host her own podcast in parallel, focusing just on marketing and sales. So stay tuned for more information. Thank you to all people who asked wonderful questions and ideas. We'll get back to you in the chat. If you're listening to this later on, email us. Put in the LinkedIn chat. We'll reply back. Thank everyone, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Bye.
Dude, that was fan fucking